Right now it's 6, a divorced couple in court today for alleged drug dealing. And a nonprofit is helping to feed community members in need.
You're watching WKBT La Crosse. This is News 8 Now at 6.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us for News 8 Now at 6. I'm Ken Kozarowski. We are hearing from the superintendent of Winona Area Public Schools today after a teacher was arrested on criminal sexual conduct charges. Police booked 29-year-old Eric Berth into Winona County Detention Center yesterday afternoon. The school district website has Berth listed as a high school gym teacher at Winona Senior High School. In a statement to Winona School District families, Superintendent Brad Brzezinski says police told the school about an investigation into Berth on January 3rd. They immediately put him on administrative leave and made a report to the Minnesota Department of Education. According to Winona police, a former Winona High School student reported they were in a sexual relationship with Berth while they were enrolled at the school. During the investigation, 2 more former students reported the same thing. Superintendent Brzezinski is urging anyone with relevant information or concerns to contact the Winona Police Department. At this time, Berth is still on administrative leave. La Crosse police are investigating a shots fired call. Police say they responded to a report of gunshots at about 11:15 last night in the area of the 700 block of Mississippi Street. They found shell casings during the investigation. No injuries have been reported and the investigation remains ongoing. Police are asking anyone with information about this incident to contact LCPD at that number on your screen. You can also submit a tip anonymously through the La Crosse Area Crime Stoppers, and we'll have that information on all of our digital platforms. The La Crosse man busted for over 3 pounds of meth appeared in court today. On Wednesday, La Crosse police executed a search warrant in a house on Redfield Street. Inside, they found over 3 pounds of meth, 136 grams of fentanyl, and $7,000 in cash. 26-year-old Stephen Johnston has been arrested and is held on a $50,000 cash bond. He'll be back in court on February 22nd. A warrant in the meantime has been issued for 30-year-old Ashley Russell, who was also involved in the bust. If you have any information, be sure to contact La Crosse police. A divorced couple is being charged for dealing drugs. Jua Tao and Tu Deng are being charged with possession with the intent to deliver methamphetamine and maintaining a drug trafficking place. The pair was arrested during a traffic stop after returning to La Crosse from St. Paul. During that traffic stop, a canine alerted, so officers searched the vehicle, and they found 443 grams of meth and 2 meth smoking devices. During a later search of Tao's home, officers found a large quantity of plastic bags, a plastic bag containing meth residue, multiple items of drug paraphernalia, and various sets of money. Both appeared in La Crosse County Court today. Jua Tao has a lawyer, so a preliminary hearing was scheduled for next month. Tu Deng's case cannot proceed until he either finds a lawyer or chooses to represent himself. Both are out of jail on bond. A Coon Valley home is destroyed after a fire this morning. According to Patrol Sergeant Mark Patterson, when the homeowner returned from dropping off kids at daycare, she saw smoke coming from the home. She called 911 and first responders arrived at 6:30 a.m. By the time crews arrived, the first floor of the home was already in flames. Several fire departments assisted Coon Valley with the fire, including the Shelby Fire Department. Fire Chief Tony Halinka says the age of the house was a problem when fighting the fire.
Some of the major considerations is we're fighting a fire in a house that's 130 years old. Large 4x10 timber frame walls made access to the seat of the fire impossible. Once we determined that, we called for an excavator.
Once the excavator arrived and provided house access, firefighters were able to battle the blaze from the inside. Sergeant Patterson says no one was hurt, but several pets likely died in the fire.
For once in this whole entire month and going back to almost middle of January, we're actually below average for our high temperatures today. So that's the one story. We also had something called wind chill we haven't seen too much here also, and you see the below zero wind chills right now for a lot of the areas, otherwise single digits. In fact, it's -10 in Mankato right now. So that's definitely more February-like temperatures. And these high temperatures were actually below average, about 7 to 8 degrees for most areas, including the single digits up to the north. So there you go. For the first time, we've actually got some blue on that map. Most of it's been pink for this whole entire month. Currently, temperatures are all the way down to the teens or single digits, depending on location, especially where you got snowpack. Those temperatures will fall quite rapidly with some clearing skies. The winds have picked up out of the north, but it's more in open country and higher higher elevations where you're seeing some of the stronger winds and wind gusts. Overall, that system has pushed off to the east. We have a little bit of a weak system up to the north that's going to pass by our north tomorrow. Otherwise, all the activity is well to the south with a few clouds here and there. So although this is not typical, this is typical February temperatures for this evening. We haven't seen this probably in at least 3 to 4 Friday evenings. So that's why definitely bundle up, because you will see a wind chill at both locations. That'll be a 0 or approaching -5 or so. So something to keep in mind of. And as we go into this weekend, it's going to start warming back up, but it's going to take some time. We do have some breezy conditions out there tomorrow, too, so take note of that. But the 50s are coming back.
Okay, good, because that breeze was a little rough today.
It's normal for February. We just haven't felt it.
That's true. It's been a weird one. Thank you, Greg. Wisconsin lawmakers this week passed a legislative map proposal that Governor Evers submitted to the state Supreme Court. The governor has until Tuesday to approve his maps, but many are wondering why he hasn't signed them already. Nearly every Democrat in the legislature voted no on the proposal. UWL political science professor Anthony Chergosky says that's a reflection of deep distrust between the political parties in Wisconsin. And Republicans have actively fought against new state maps for years, so a 180 this week and a vote for a Democratic governor's map proposal may seem suspicious to Democrats. But Chergosky says it's more likely Republicans are, in their eyes, making the best of a situation.
Republicans have bad options and worse options right now. Their bad option is to go with the Evers maps, and the Republicans' worse option is to wait and see how the Wisconsin State Supreme Court might decide on this issue.
Now, the Supreme Court hired experts who looked at every map submission, and they said Evers' proposal was one of the most politically balanced. And Assembly Speaker Robin Vos has said Republicans can win on Evers' maps. The state assembly has passed several bills cracking down on artificial intelligence. One bill requires political candidates and groups to post disclaimers in any ads that are using AI tech. Another calls for auditors to review how state agencies use AI. And those agencies would have to report which jobs AI could make more efficient by 2026. Though a Republican lawmaker says this bill is not about replacing humans with AI. And a third bill says making or having child pornography produced with AI a felony, punishable by up to 25 years in prison. A local nonprofit has received funds from the state to help address the youth and young adult vaping epidemic. Wisconsin DHS awarded Great Rivers United Way an $81,000 vaping prevention and treatment initiatives grant. The money comes from a multi-year settlement with Juul to reverse the harm caused by vapes. United Way's development director says the money will be dispersed to area organizations that focus on tackling teen and young adult vaping.
All the money that's for the $81,000 goes back into the programming for courses for Teen Intervene and getting trainers in and working for some of that additional mental health balance with it.
One of the programs receiving the grant money from United Way is Better Together's Project Vape Free Youth. The grant money will be received over the next couple years. Today was the Salvation Army's monthly food distribution in collaboration with Hunger Task Force. Anyone in need of food assistance can head down to the Salvation Army of La Crosse on the third Friday of each month. Today they were out handing out everything from bananas to meats and even dog food available. The amount of food you're able to receive will be dependent on the size of your family. Salvation Army's Director of Development told us why they host an event like this.
A lot of times the reason we do the food distribution is to help people better afford rent, utilities, clothing, education, things like that.
Sure.
You will need to bring a driver's license or state ID card to pick up food. And Quam says if you missed today's, don't worry, there are plenty of other food pantries in the area. Former President Donald Trump ordered to pay more than $350 million in connection to his civil fraud trial. The additional penalties the New York judge imposed right after this. Well, a major legal and financial setback for former President Donald Trump today after the judge in his civil fraud case announced massive penalties. Christian Benavides reports from the New York courthouse.
A New York judge has ordered former President Donald Trump and his co-defendants to pay more than $350 million. The ruling also bars Trump from running any company in New York for 3 years.
And it's all having to do with election interference. There were no victims because the banks made a lot of money. They made $100 million.
Judge Arthur Engoron released a decision 4 months after finding Trump had committed fraud by inflating his assets and net worth, all to get better terms on loans and insurance. Throughout the trial, the former president denied wrongdoing, clashed with the judge, and slammed the case as a witch hunt. The stiff penalty is a victory for New York Attorney General Letitia James.
The court, once again, ruled in our favor and in favor of every hard-working American who plays by the rules.
Trump's legal team is promising to appeal, but that will be challenging, according to CBS News legal analyst Ricky Kleeman.
What it says to me is if I am Donald Trump's lawyer, I think I have many grounds for appeal, but I've got to post money or a surety bond in order to go forward with the appeal. And in New York, that is a phenomenal amount of money.
The judge also banned sons Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump from running a corporation in New York for 2 years, saying they intentionally falsified business records. Christian Benavides, CBS News, New York.
In a statement, the Trump Organization called today's ruling a gross miscarriage of justice and went on to say that every member of the New York business community should be concerned with what it called the gross overreach of the state's attorney general. There may be a light at the end of the tunnel for people with multiple food allergies. The new drug people can take as a preventative measure.
Yeah, and although we're going to have a taste of February weather, we're going to go back to these above average temperatures later this weekend and next week, and that means the 50s are going to be coming back. I'll break down when we might expect those 50s, how cold it'll get tonight, and whether we got any rain or snow in the forecast. That all coming up on your First Warn Weather Update after the break.
Thank you for watching News 8 Now. Expect more.
Well, there's new help for people with multiple food allergies. The Food and Drug Administration has approved Xolair, a medication that can help to lessen the severity of those allergic reactions. Patients take an injection once every 2 to 4 weeks. And then if they accidentally ingest something they are allergic to, the reaction is milder. Xolair is not meant for the emergency treatment of allergic reactions. The drug was originally invented to treat allergic asthma. Wholesale inflation rose in January more than expected. The Producer Price Index increased 0.3%, bringing the annual increase to 0.9%. Economists had predicted a 0.7% gain for the year. PPI measures average price shifts at the wholesale level before products reach the consumer. It includes various categories, including the volatile food and energy sectors, and is an indicator of what consumers ultimately end up paying. Been a chilly one to end this work week, but hopefully a warm up in our future. In the meantime, bundle up this evening. Let's get over to Greg with the latest forecast.
Yeah, this was a normal February. These temperatures would be like, not a big deal. But since we haven't seen this in about a month, it is quite chilly and cold out there. Definitely the coldest Friday evening we've had probably in at least 4 weeks. So as we go through President's weekend, we're going to have some changes. The cold temperatures are going to be replaced by more mild temperatures, so it's not going to last that long. But definitely as we go through, tomorrow is one day that's going to be breezy, a little warmer for most locations, but that wind out of the west will kind of keep those wind chills probably in the teens, so it won't feel as warm. But that's pretty close to where we should be this time of year. Sunday, less of a wind. More areas will probably get into the 40s. It's positive, more mild conditions. And then probably the best day of the 3 days, it's going to be President's Day. As we get into the 40s, there might be a few spots that actually get into the 50s. So once again, it's not going to last that long. But overnight, we're just going to have off and on cloud coverage. You'll wake up, going to be quite chilly. Single digits to low teens in most of the locations. Once again, that's not far from where we should be, but it's just colder than we've had. As we go throughout the day, you'll start seeing the winds pick up. A few clouds. There's a system that's going to dive south and kind of clip the area as it goes into the UP. So we'll have more clouds further north, more sun as you go further south, but it does increase that west wind. As you see, temperatures throughout will get up to the 30s for most locations, upper 20s further north. And tomorrow evening will be warmer than Friday evening, definitely. We'll probably be in the 20s to maybe teens at the worst, but that west wind will continue. Wind chills, we're going to wake up with single digits below and above zero, maybe as low as 5 to 10 below in certain situations. We'll see that improve. But with that west wind that's going to be blowing pretty quite strong, even in the afternoon we'll be in the teens for wind chills, single digits occasionally, so it won't feel as warm tomorrow, even though the temperature will be a little bit warmer. And then as we go into Saturday, we should start seeing that go away. But Wind-wise, 10 to 15 starting off, 15 to 20 in the afternoon. We could see some gusts and 30 in the higher elevations and open areas too. So it's going to be quite breezy, almost windy as we go out throughout Tuesday, even Tuesday afternoon, especially as you go further south into northeast Iowa, where we could see 25. And these are sustained winds, so definitely it's going to be breezy, and that's going to keep the feeling of 30 degrees, not so much feeling like it's 30 degrees tomorrow. Big picture shows there's your system coming through tomorrow. Otherwise, we have more clouds. Sunday should probably be the best day. We'll start seeing clearing skies. That system out to the west approaching by President's Day will not be a big deal. It's going to head south. We're just going to see more cloud cover. And if you're looking for travel issues next week, there really isn't anything as we go throughout the weekend. We might see a front come through with the winds turning to the north Friday, but this doesn't look impressive either. The storm track stays to our south, and really we could go all the way to the end of the month till we see maybe a good chance of rain. Temperatures next week, 20 to 25. That means we're going to see more 50s coming in the forecast, especially in areas that don't have the snow cover. Otherwise, tonight, definitely going to be colder than we've had. Not far from where we should be. Wind chills will probably be in the 0s to -5 range as you wake up tomorrow morning and go throughout the day. Temperatures a little warmer, but that west wind that's going to be blowing quite strong won't make it feel as warm as in the 30s. And then the best day, as we go through President's Day, should be probably Monday when we get back into the mid-40s and potentially 50s by next week once again, and then cooling back down. But once again, back to reality for a few days, but then we're going to go right back to the 50s. So like I said, you really can't complain even though it does feel cold today.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take a couple of days.
We've been spoiled
of
for a
this.
while.
Yes, we sure have. All right, Greg, thanks very much. Coming up next in sports, see who's taken home the latest play of the week. Plus, Caitlin Clark had all eyes on women's college basketball. Cade's going to tell you why right after this.
Covering all of the exciting action from your community, here's News 8 Now Sports with Cade Overton.
Welcome to News 8 Now Sports. I'm Cade Overton. The winter sports season is wrapping up. The girls tip off the postseason next Tuesday, but tonight the boys teams will be looking to build their confidence before the playoff seeds are released on Sunday. We'll start in the MVC. The Hilltoppers haven't lost a conference game this season. Onalaska comes in tonight a perfect 10-0 against MVC opponents. The boys will be back at Onalaska tonight as they play host to Toma. Just a few miles down the road, two more MVC rivals looking for a big conference win to build their playoff stock as Logan plays host to Holman. And then on the Minnesota side tonight, lots of action on the hardwood, including the Spring Grove boys basketball team. The Lions are 20-3 so far this season. They've won 14 of their last 16 games, and they'll be looking for another win as they take on Martin County West. All right, tomorrow afternoon we wrap up the WIAC regular season as the Eagles are taking on the UW Eau Claire Blue Golds. The women are at home starting at 3 p.m. in Mitchell Hall. UW Eau Claire took down the Eagles earlier this season, but now we're in lacrosse and UWL will look to defend home court. The men will be in Eau Claire for a 5 p.m. tip. If they win, they'll clinch second place in the conference. History was made last night as Caitlin Clark officially passed Kelsey Plum and is now the all-time leading scorer for women's college basketball. The record-breaking shot came in the most Caitlin Clark way possible, a logo 3, nothing but net. Clark came into the game only needing 8 points to break the record, and she didn't just break it, she crushed it, scoring a career-high 49 points in Iowa's win. So now the record sits at 3,569, and she now only needs 98 more points to pass Pistol Pete Maravich for most points in NCAA basketball history. And we've got our play of the week, and for this we got to go back to Caledonia. Lewis Doyle, double overtime game winner. One more look at it. The Warriors took down Onalaska, and Doyle did everything, scoring 28 points, but those two at the end were the most important. He was pumped, the crowd was pumped, and it was much deserving. It was easily the best basketball game I've been to this year, but we've still got a lot of games to go. Rob will join me at 10 for the Friday Night Frenzy. That's all for sports. We'll be right back.
All right, tonight we're just going to see temperatures at, oops, that's tomorrow, I'm sorry. Tonight the temperatures will be pretty chilly, but tomorrow a little bit more seasonable, but the wind will be out of the west, so it won't make it feel as nice, but still, that's pretty much where we should be for February. It gets better for Sunday, 40, and next week the 50s come back, especially for areas that don't have the snow cover on the ground. So overall, Can't complain too much about the cold weather right now because we've been spoiled and we're going to get spoiled again.
Oh.
Looks like.
All right, thanks for joining us tonight at 6. Hope to see you at 10 for The Frenzy.